The dry winds of Savanna whispered across the golden grass as dawn broke. The air carried the scent of dust and wild acacia trees. It was a time long before stone houses, before fire was fully tamed, when survival was a daily struggle against the land, the beasts, and hunger. For Caro and his small band, hunger had been gnawing at them for many days. Berries had withered under the scorching sun. Roots were bitter, hard, and scarce. Small animals had grown wary of human hands, and even the traps they set yielded nothing. Their stomachs growled like restless lions, and desperation began to seep into their bones. It was then that Sano, the youngest of the hunters, spotted them, the giant birds. A group of ostriches stalked the plains, their long necks swaying like reeds in the wind, their massive legs powerful enough to outrun most creatures alive. But it was not the birds themselves that caught his eye. It was their nest. Hidden between clumps of grass and a shallow scrape of earth lay treasures larger than any fruit they had ever seen. Eggs as big as a man's head, gleaming white in the morning sun. "We take them," Sano whispered, eyes wide with excitement. Caro, the eldest, frowned. "The bird will fight. Its kick can kill. We must be faster than its rage." Still, the choice was clear. One egg alone could feed them all for a day, and there were many. To leave them untouched meant surrendering to hunger. To steal them meant risking the fury of the bird. They planned quickly. 3 would run forward, grab what they could, and flee. The others would keep watch for danger. There was no time for hesitation. The moment came. The sun climbed higher, and the ostrich wandered a short distance away. Caro gave the signal. He, Sano, and Teiko leapt from the tall grass, sprinting with all the strength in their legs. Their feet beat the earth in frantic rhythm. Dust rose around them as their hands closed around the massive eggs, surprisingly warm and heavy. For a moment, triumph filled them. They had succeeded, but triumph quickly turned to dread. A sharp cry split the air. The ostrich had seen them. Its wings spread wide. Its long legs churned the ground like pounding drums, and it charged with a speed no human could match. The ground trembled with each step. Its eyes, black and burning, locked on the thieves. "Run!" Caro shouted. The hunters scattered, clutching their prizes. Grass whipped against their legs. Their hearts hammered in their chests. Behind them, the bird closed in its stride longer, faster, unstoppable. Sano nearly tripped, the egg slipping in his sweaty hands. But he held on. The ostrich lunged at him, beak snapping. Only by ducking low and veering sharply did he avoid the strike. The bird's shadow loomed over him like a storm. Caro knew they could not outrun it for long. He had seen ostriches before, how they could keep pace with the wind itself. Desperation lit his mind like fire. He shouted to Sano and Teiko, "Drop some eggs!" "Slow it down." Reluctantly, they let 2 of the eggs fall to ground. They cracked against the earth, spilling golden yolk across the dry grass. The ostrich screeched in fury, pausing only for an instant at the sight of its ruined young. That heartbeat of hesitation was all the hunters needed. They sprinted harder, every muscle straining, lungs burning with fire. The tall grass opened, and ahead lay the safety of a rocky outcrop. If they could reach it, the bird's great legs would stumble on stone. But Teiko faltered. His egg slipped from his grasp and rolled into grass. He stopped, torn between safety and treasure. His hunger screamed for him to reclaim it, but his instinct screamed louder. He abandoned the egg and followed the others. The ostrich was nearly upon them again when the hunters scrambled onto the rocks. Sharp stone cut their feet, but the higher ground slowed the bird. It circled below, hissing furious, but unwilling to climb. Caro collapsed against a stone, chest heaving. In his arms, the egg remained whole. Beside him, Sano clutched as tightly, trembling. Teiko, though empty-handed, was alive. They had stolen only 2 eggs, but 2 were enough. 2 meant survival. As the bird finally retreated to guard what was left of its nest, the hunters looked at one another. Fear still shimmered in their eyes, but so did pride. They had challenged the Savanna and lived. That night, under a sky blazing with stars, the eggs were roasted in the embers of their small fire. The shells cracked and split, the rich scent of food filling the air. The band ate until their stomachs were full, warmth returning to their bodies, strength to their limbs. Caro raised his hand and spoke softly to the others. The land is harsh, but it gives to those who dare. Remember this day. We do not live by fear. We live by courage. And so, on that night long ago, with the taste of ostrich eggs still on their lips, the hunters carved another lesson into the memory of humankind. That survival